We are down to two more races, and then it's all over for the 2025 season in NASCAR as far as the Cup Series is concerned. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, as we take a look at qualifying and practice for the Xfinity 500 from Martinsville. Thanks for tuning in. And again, one more to go. And that is actually going to, well, keep this in mind. Friday is practice next week. So actually taking a look at my notes, they're going to be late. Probably somewhere between 6. Probably between 5:30 and 7. Now, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be around on the air on Friday for just practice. So we'll see. I doubt it, but we'll definitely be on the air after qualifying on Saturday night. Got the time difference as well to keep that in mind. And of course, we're going to be on the air on Tuesday at 3:30 for our final Cup Series preview show as we take a look at the Championship 4 with two drivers in, Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, two more drivers trying to get in, and one of them trying to get in is William Byron, who took the pole today at Martinsville. Now, you might think this is a great advantage for William Byron. This is really going to make things interesting as far as the odds, as far as William Byron's odds. They should drop down considerably, but I don't really think that should be the case since there has not been a pole sitter win at Martinsville since 2013. That's crazy. I guess the good thing is it was Jimmy Johnson driving a Chevy, and Chevy was the clear winner today. Toyota was solid. Toyota had a solid day. Ford, definitely third. They had some drivers in there, though. It wasn't a complete washout. But Chevy was definitely the top manufacturer today with Byron on the pole. They also had the fastest driver in practice and 5 of the top 8 in practice. As far as Toyota, again, very solid. Drivers up front in both sessions. Ford was okay in qualifying, not as good in practice. They didn't have a driver in the top 8 in practice, but they did have 4 of the top 12. So it wasn't it wasn't like they had 1 out of 14. It wasn't like a really, really terrible day for Ford. They were just third. Now, remember, as we said on Tuesday, there's not a whole lot of handicapping information that we're going to be able to get from today. There's just not. A little bit, but not a lot, because you really just have to qualify in the top 20. Now, in saying that, does that mean that the following drivers are out of it, including Ryan Blaney? Now, Ryan Blaney will start a pitiful 31st. And Bubba will start 21st. Of course, he's not a playoff driver, but the only playoff driver, Ryan Blaney, 31st, outside the top 20. I guess if you had to pick a driver to start outside the top 20 with a chance to win, it's Ryan Blaney. Because we know a couple of reasons. We know that qualifying has never really been Blaney's thing, his team's thing. And they're very, very good at figuring things out after Saturday into Sunday. Very, very good at that. Maybe as good as any team. And I actually think they are. I think they're the top team in all of NASCAR in the Cup Series, figuring out, if we have a bad Saturday, how to make it a good Sunday. They had a terrible day on Saturday in the spring at this track, and they ended up 11th. So they were still able to find their way to get into respectability after a really bad day, just like they're having today, a bad day. Now, another good thing for Blaney and his team is that they were 11th in practice. Pop that up here too. Okay, so here's the practice. There you go. Look, there's the other Chevy driver atop, Chase Elliott. So there's Blaney, 11th in practice. So it starts off okay, 11th, but unfortunately has a really bad lap or two in qualifying. But I think the 11th is important, because if it would have been 25th, 31st, then I think he'd really be in a lot of trouble, like a lot of trouble. But the fact that he was 11th in practice, that's real important because, again, you're talking multiple laps, and now they'll be able to figure out. So really, if you look at it from 11th, they just have to figure out how we go from 11th in their minds to first. First, you got to start 31st to get there. So they've got a ways to go. I get that. And I do say that because, again, this is not the type of track where the drivers that put down the fastest speeds win these races. Normally, that can be the case, but that's not the case at this track. So I do not think that there's a whole lot of panic going on. Was it a good day for Blaney? No. Are they panicking? No reason to do that, especially at a track where Ryan Blaney has finished 11th or better in his last 13 races. That's pretty impressive. He has a 5.1 average. So I don't really think they are panicking, but not a good start. As far as his teammate, Joey Logano, taking a look again back at qualifying, he starts 4th. Much better position. This is one of CJ's top picks on Tuesday. The top Ford. 9th in practice, so nice day for Logano. Also very important for Penske to know that. And even Cindric, as you could see, there's 10th. He did not have a good practice run, though, Cindric. So kind of the exact opposite of Blaney, which, again, all Cindric is doing, all that team is doing right now is, hey, what kind of information can we give you? Because we need to find out how we can get a little bit more like Logano and Cindric. Maybe even just getting Cindric's information could actually be even more important, like I said, considering it was a complete opposite effect. But Logano's 4th place run in qualifying, very important for Logano and the whole team. And then, as I mentioned, well, actually, with Toyota, let's talk Toyota now. Let's bring them into the picture. Because you see there again, Ty Gibbs, who had a really good spring. He had a good spring race, even though he didn't finish in the top 10. He has no top 10s in Martinsville. So results-wise, he has not had a good run at Martinsville. But he's shown promise so far in the race, in the weekend last week, in the spring, and so far on Saturday at Martinsville. So he's finding something there. We'll see exactly if that can translate now into the race. So he's the top Toyota. Denny Hamlin, of course, he's next, but he's already off to Phoenix. He's got no problem there. Chase Briscoe is the next Toyota, same thing. He's in great shape. Christopher Bell would be after that. Now, Bell starts 12th, and his practice run, if you look at that, not as good, 16th. So, matter of fact, that was the second worst for the playoff drivers. You can see Briscoe, the other Toyota, one of the other Toyotas was 26th in practice. So can we get at it? What do we get out of with Bell? Well, here's the thing. Christopher Bell, remember when he won his race in the 2022 Next Gen season, he started 20th and ended up leading 150 laps to win the race. But you also have to understand that, as we said the other day, he really hasn't, for the most part, been good at Martinsville. It's been hit or miss. He has a first and a second. Matter of fact, this year he finished second in the spring. He led 25 laps from the pole. And he has the first, as I mentioned, but he's got a 14.7 average in 7 next-gen races. So just imagine how all the other races went. And now, not so good start for the day. Bell is usually a good Saturday driver. So I'm sure there might be some issues there. But Christopher Bell does not have to win the race. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, what they have to do is feel out the race. Okay, feel out the race. Make sure, hey, how's Joey Logano doing? How's Ryan? How are the non-playoff drivers, how are the non-championship 4 drivers doing? And if they're not doing well, Bell and Larson, especially early in the race, no matter what, they just don't screw up. Don't get into any trouble. Don't just be on alert. And if they just find a way to get out of the first stage, probably all they have to do is get out of the first stage clean, and they'll be okay. As long as one of the other non-Phoenix drivers, Hamlin or Briscoe, don't win. If Logano, if he's up there, and it looks like he's going to be a contender to win this race, well, then Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell will be competing against each other. And I would think once we start moving along in the race, both of them might be in win. We better win this race just to be sure mode. So there's still a chance when you're betting on these drivers tomorrow. That's what you have to keep in mind. Now, I feel a lot better taking Logano, Blaney, Elliott, in that situation, just because of the fact that, in the situation that I know I got to win. That makes me feel a lot better. And then, of course, that includes William Byron as well. So you got the 3 Hendrick drivers. Larson, not clinched, but in really good position. Elliott and Byron, interesting. They're in rough shape right now. It's like, we got to win this race. And they've done really well today. Again, you've got Elliott leading in practice, and you got Byron leading in qualifying. So it's a really good day, and they're definitely also going to be swapping numbers. Okay, how'd you do, and how'd you do in each session to become the fastest driver? Not that, the other driver didn't perform well in the other session too, because if you look at it, Elliott was, what was he? Elliott was 1st and 8th, and Byron was 1st and 7th. So they look really strong right now. And Larson was 3rd and 5th. So again, as of today, the clear winner, Chevy, and the clear winning team, Hendricks. Hendrick Motorsports, clear winning team today. You don't win Martinsville races on Saturday, though. So just remember that when you take a look at the odds. Let me see. I'm going to see if I could actually, let me see if I notice any updated odds yet, because it's been a little while. It's been a couple of hours or an hour or so. No, not there. Yeah, I don't see it. So, wait, I can check here. No, not there. Let me check here. All right, let me see. I doubt it, but I'm just going to give it a try, especially with the other race still going on. Yeah, they're not going to give it to me. Okay. Anyway, I tried. Wait, Xfinity 500? Any chance? No. All right. I figured I'd give it a try. Okay. So no odds as usual. So again, Chevy looks good. Toyota's okay. And Ford still has a pulse. Let's run through this now. And what I want to do too is take a final look and give you picks. Oh, regarding once you start putting together, if you haven't already put together wagers yet for the race or for the championship, just keep this in mind. Well, especially now that Ryan Blaney's not looking so good. Remember, he was 4-1 before today. And some places he was 3-1. All right. So what you don't want to do, there are, if you look at it, you really, let's see, Blaney's 10-1 to win the championship. I'm just going by one sports book. Logano 25 and Elliott 28. Okay. And Byron 20. So out of those 4, you have to say to yourself, do I think any of those 4 can win the race at Phoenix? And I think for the most part, yeah, you could say that. Okay. But what I'm going to say is you might want to gamble on, let's say Elliott winds up 5-1, Byron 5-1 to win the race. And let's say Logano is 6-1. These are all possibilities. Okay. And I just told you what their championship numbers are, give or take. You might want to consider taking the championship instead, because they're low numbers. I mean, you could do both. You could say, all right, I'm going to take one driver, the driver who I think is going to win this race, but then I'm also going to take a couple of the drivers who I think could win this race and therefore will be in the championship and have a chance to win it. Only 4 of drivers can. And then all of a sudden, because look, all the drivers that are going to win the championship, all those drivers next week are going to be between 2-1 and 4-1. So you're not going to be able to make money by next week. You're just not. Not with those drivers. Now, maybe you could pull off a Chastain and another driver can win the race and good odds, and you can go that way, and that's possible. Not likely, but possible. This is your last chance to try to make money on the championship odds. So, I mean, look, I don't know where Blaney's odds are going to be. I really have to believe that his odds have got to be double now. I can't imagine his odds are going to be still 3 or 4-1. That would be ridiculous. So even if it's 6-1, all right, because I don't think it's going to go much higher than that. So let's just say it's 6-1. Then considering how far back he is and the unlikeliness that he does win, just imagine if he does. Wow, what a story. Well, just also know his history at Phoenix. And if he's able to come back and win Martinsville and with this day, then he has a really good chance of winning Phoenix. So just take the championship odds, which are 10-1 right now. And you know what? Some of these odds might change based on what happened today. His odds might have actually gone up. And the same thing with Byron, Logano, and Elliott. Now, keep in mind, Bell led 105 laps, Byron 83, Logano 81 earlier this year in Phoenix. Okay. So maybe the part of that is the reason why Elliott's 28-1 and the biggest long shot. But he looks really good after what I see here. And I'm okay with Chase Elliott going in. I don't care about those numbers. We've talked about it all season. What happens in the first race doesn't always happen in the second race. And how often have we seen that over the last few seasons with Penske? How often have we seen, I mean, Blaney and Logano, especially Blaney, I'm not sure about Logano, but we haven't seen them winning races very much in the spring compared to the championship race. So again, even back then it happens, and it does happen, and especially this year, it's happened quite a bit. So meaning any of them can do it. And that would just be my tip. Think about that. Think about, you know what? If I like that driver to win this race, maybe I'll gamble on his championship number instead because it's going to be a lot bigger. See, Blaney's going to have a much smaller number, but Logano, Byron, Elliott, I mean, they're all in the 20s. And all of them look like they have a really good shot to win tomorrow. So let's run through quickly and give you the final information here. Let's pop back and show you all of the odds. Excuse me, the speeds. So again, the top 20, because in the next gen, no driver has won outside the top 20. All 7 have been in the top 20. Here we go. You got outside. You got Bell is still a good choice possibility, but not a lot of other drivers I think are. Again, I mean, Bubba, I think maybe. I still think Bubba's a possibility. Disappointed by Josh Berry. And then there's Blaney. Now, none of this surprises me. I kind of felt this was going to happen. We talked about it on Tuesday, that the cream is going to rise to the top in Martinsville on Sunday. And it's going to be unlikely that a long shot driver is going to win. If a long shot driver could win, based on what we're seeing here today, I would say the obvious choice is Ty Gibbs, based on the fact that he had the good day in the spring. But again, Gibbs does not have a great history here, but he does have odds that are really good, and they should drop. But I don't think they're going to drop that much where you're going to feel like you missed the boat. He was 35-1 yesterday. So you should still get between 15 and 25-1 minimum on Ty Gibbs. Those would be decent numbers if you want to pick one of those long shot drivers. After what I've seen today, I think he's the obvious way to go. And honestly, besides the ones we've already talked about, I think Wallace and Blaine, well, not Blaney's not a long shot driver, but Wallace is the only other driver that I would consider because he had a really good practice run. He had a top 5 practice run. And and the reason I liked him as a long shot the other day is in the next gen, he has 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and a 9.8 average. And those top 5s have come in his last 3 races here. So he was 28-1. I don't think those odds are going to change much at all. So I would go today, right now, after what I've seen, Gibbs, Wallace. Those would be my only 2 long shot drivers. I keep this in mind too regarding some of these stats. Larson, who starts 3rd and had a 5th practice run, he's got a 6.5 average starting position in his last 6 races at Martinsville. Okay, so what does that mean to me? Well, what that means is what he did today doesn't really mean anything. He's been there, done that. And I think that's important when you're talking about a driver who's going to be maybe the co-favorite right now. He was behind Blaney. Now he'll probably be the favorite or co-favorite. And again, this is CJ's top pick, Larson, but I have kind of given up on Larson. Now, he's got 2 more races. He could just win tomorrow, win next week. And all of the angst, all of the really poor driving or inability to win a race after what he did earlier in the season. And everybody was talking about Kyle Larson being the best driver in the world that week in Indianapolis. Remember that? He was anointing Kyle Larson the greatest driver in the world. Look at him. He's driving in the 500. He's driving in the 600. Look how great he is. He has a bad day and never recovered the rest of the season. You could make it all go away with a win tomorrow. Because if he wins tomorrow, he's going to be awfully tough to beat next week. But I'm going to bet against that. And I've been betting against that for 85% of the last 3 months. I think I might have picked him once or twice. I think just once. And I just felt that way. And I'm willing to go the whole 100 yards for that. Elliott has a 6.8 average in the next gen. So just like Larson, Elliott also has done a good job on Saturday, and if you look at it, like Larson, because Larson has 1 win in 21 races, even though pre-next gen Larson was not good at Martinsville. It was all next gen. He's at 6 straight finishes of 6th or better, with a 3.1 average, 2 runner-ups, and a win. Average start 6.5 before today. Elliott, next gen, 6 top 10s, 3 top 5s, a runner-up. But I'd like Elliott's. I like the fact that Elliott also led 557 laps during that stretch. A lot better than Larson. Elliott's led over 1,000 laps here in his career. Larson has led not 400, and they both have driven in basically the same amount of races here. Elliott was 4th earlier this year from the 2nd position, leading 42 laps. He was 2nd in this race last year, leading 129 laps. And you were getting better odds. And I just think he's the driver to, again, we mentioned this on Tuesday. Neither one of us took Elliott, but we out of the drivers we did not take, he was the only driver that we mutually agreed upon that was the driver that we would still take or want to take and advise you to take. And I don't really think the odds will change a whole lot because he was still like 7-1. I think it'll go down now I think because Blaney's odds are going up now, I don't know how much further like Elliott can go down. So I'm thinking, because Hamlin was still solid, Briscoe's in good shape and his odds were high too. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think Logano's odds are going to probably drop because remember, Logano was 8-1. I see Logano's odds dropping too. So I could see Elliott still being like a good 6-1. and maybe Logano 7-1, 6-1. But I no matter what, I like Elliott. So as of right now, even though Byron's on the pole, Elliott was fastest in practice. And he was the top Hendrick driver I liked anyway on Tuesday. And I'm going right to Elliott here on Saturday night as my top driver. And again, I think the odds should be pretty good. I'm going to take Logano right next to him. So you look at Logano, and he also just has one win. But like Elliott, he's led over 1,200 laps. It has occurred. It has happened in about 12 more races, though. But he has 6 career poles, 7 top 10s in 7 next-gen races, never outside. So him and Blaney, Logano and Blaney, have just been automatic here as far as top 10s, top 11s in the next gen. He's got a couple runner-ups. He had a good day at New Hampshire. Of course, Blaney won New Hampshire. We all know how important that is to this particular race. But definitely Elliott. So I like Elliott, Logano second. Bell, meanwhile, we told you about his win from the 20th position. And if you look at Christopher Bell, so he also only has the one win, but that's only in 11 races. And he was 6-1, so he's definitely not coming down. If anything, Bell's going to be still staying the same, or maybe he goes up 7-1. So I still think Bell is not a bad choice. But see, I'm not going with Larson. I'm going with Bell. I think when it's all said and done, again, I'm going to take Elliott to win, and I'm going to take Bell because he's my championship pick in the beginning of the season, and I'm not wavering. He's been the hottest driver along with Briscoe in the playoffs. I think the timing's right. I also think he could win tomorrow. So, I'm going to go Elliott, Logano, and Bell as my top 3 drivers going into tomorrow, with Gibbs and Wallace as the top long shots. And let's pop down the rest of the speeds. You can check them out. Cole Custer had a good day, 6th and 12th, I believe. So here are the rest, and everybody else just nondescript, which I just kind of felt was going to be the case tomorrow, and it just happened to be the case also today. So and again, just getting back to Byron, the thing with Byron, same thing. Even though he's on the pole, it hasn't changed my mind. He's had absolutely terrible luck, as we all know, in the last couple of races. There's so many. It's not like it's like Byron end. It's only one of the drivers got to worry about. No, he's got to worry about Elliott. He's got to worry about five other drivers he's competing with. And when you're doing that, it's like, well, why would I want to take a driver that's had the worst luck out of the 5 going into this race? He can win. We all know Byron can win. Byron can do exactly what I talked about with Larson, is he can just take all this bad luck of these last 2 races, win on Sunday, and then go into Phoenix and win there and win his championship. We all know William Byron is more than capable of doing that. He's been a driver that we've picked on this show from time to time to win the championship the last several years. So it's not like we don't think that can happen, but I'm big on trends. I'm big on streaks, and I just don't like the way he's streaking right now and trending right now. So that's my reasoning. And as far as Hamlin and Briscoe, if you think one of these drivers who are already in, is there something that could happen at some point in the race where they see, hey, you know what? If I win this race, that prevents Joey Logano or Ryan Blaney from getting in. Denny Hamlin or Chase Briscoe will want to do that. So look, they're going to go out there and try to win the race. No question about it. This is different from Talladega, because Talladega, you can get seriously hurt. This is a race where you should be okay. So go for the win. And Denny, of course, is the winner from earlier this year when he dominated, leading 274 laps. It was all Toyota. Okay. Another reason why you might want to be a little bit questionable regarding Toyota coming in here And that's that's what CJ was. And that's why CJ went pretty, I think he went all, did he go all Chevy? That's right. He put Logano in there. So he went Chevy, Ford, and Ford. Because he also had Priest. Yeah. So regarding Hamlin and Briscoe, that's why I think it's going to be really tough to duplicate what Hamlin did earlier. As far as Briscoe, he really, look, he's been okay. He's had some real good, solid finishes at Martinsville. 6 top 10s out of 7. That's pretty good. A couple top 5s. That's been okay. Okay. He's number 1 here, but that's fine. He's led a few laps, but not a lot. The difference is you're getting 16-1 with 5-1. And when you're taking a look at the numbers here, Briscoe 9th, but 26th in practice. So a big difference. Hamlin looks a lot better than Chase Briscoe right now, and he deserves to be a lot better also with those odds. But I wouldn't go that route because his odds are just too small. If I was going to go with the driver to win the race, I'm going to just go with the drivers that really, really, really need to win the race instead, which is why I went with those drivers. But I could see definitely why, if you wanted to pick one of those, I think Denny Hamlin would be the clear choice. But hey, you're getting triple with Briscoe. So you got to definitely throw that in there too. And look, just figure out your strategy yourself based on who you have already. Maybe if you've done some futures this season, who's in the championship already, and use that as a strategy as well, just like Hamlin and Briscoe are. And maybe you can hedge your bet if Briscoe and Hamlin win, and that gives you a much better chance to win as well. Yeah, there's a whole different way you can figure this out on your own, depending on whether or not you have drivers in the championship right now. Anyway, there you go. So this is, as I've said, this week, it's just not a good handicapping race on Saturdays for Martinsville. It just isn't. But we do have some information. I think it will serve us good for the race tomorrow. And let us know if you have any questions regarding any specific drivers, anything we can answer for you. We'll wrap it all up and preview the Phoenix race, including the top 4 at 3:30 Eastern. That's where we start on Tuesday with CJ Radoon from RotoWire. Check the links in the description because CJ's got his DFS report from RotoWire on the race. Kevin has his pick on the race. He also has a matchup pick. Kevin correctly predicted Denny Hamlin would win this race in the spring. So he might be the one to go with this week. He has his pick for the race as well. And enjoy the race, everybody. I know I will. I certainly hope it's a lot more exciting than it was in the spring, and I believe it will be. And we'll see you again in a few days right here on Proline TV.